I'll tell you what exactly I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear that you're sorry. Everyone is sorry after they are caught. I don't want to hear why you did it. I don't even want to know if this was your first novel. All this crap doesn't matter to me in the slightest. What matters is that you did it. You cheated not only on me, but also on our 4 children. They won't have a chance at a normal childhood. You cheated on both of our parents. Now children will not have a normal relationship between grandmother and grandson. I talked to a lawyer, as you suggested, and she confirmed that what you threatened me with was quite possible. So my life will be miserable for the next 10 years. Imagine my shock when I discovered that, according to the law, it was you who destroyed us, and yet I will be punished. Rick, honey, please, I didn't threaten you. That's not what I meant. You have to believe me. I was trying to rationally point out the realities of our lives. Okay, I'm a lying liar, but do our 4 children deserve to pay for my behavior? I understand that the kids come first, but I guess in your world, ruining my life is just collateral damage. And please don't call me cute. You don't have the right to do that anymore. I'm just Rick. And, just for fun, I overheard you telling me that I should let you continue your affair even though you're married. I have to allow this, so I don't have to be a part-time dad paying you child support and child support for the next 10 fucking years. Isn't that a threat? Yesterday I didn't express it very well. I'm very sorry, but it's hard for me to explain. It's not a knock on you, but he does things to me. He makes me feel things I've never felt before. I don't love him, but now I can't let him go. Yes, I know. It's all because of you, not because of me. I know that, but please let me try to explain it better. Let's. I love fairy tales. Keep going. He waved his hand ceremoniously and plopped back into his chair. In the year that has passed since all this began, have I at least once refused you sex? Have you ever noticed even the slightest decrease in my attention to the whole family? Have I at least once canceled a joint lunch with you? Is there anything? What could you or the children reproach me for because of my affair on the side? All this is true. But that only made him angrier because she didn't really understand. Then tell me this, if you hid it so well, took care of my needs, were a good mother and everything to our children, why tell me now? At least I had the bliss of my ignorance. Now you've even taken that from me. I had to tell you, Rick, because some of our loved ones saw me in a compromising position, and I didn't want you to find out about it from the outside. I should have told you. How noble. Who saw you with your friend? I want to know because no one told me shit about this, and I would like to know who my good friend is. I'm not going to tell you this. I can't. Why not? You won't even tell me your lover's name, so that makes things even nastier. I won't tell you who saw me because it doesn't matter, and it will cause you unnecessary pain. And I won't tell you who my friend is, because I know you will attack him. I cannot allow the father of our children to be in prison. They need him. With all the sarcasm he could muster. Gee, you seem to know what's best for me in every aspect of my life, so I guess I shouldn't be upset at all. Just stop your sarcasm, Rick. It doesn't suit you, and stop acting so childish. What the hell is a cuckold? No, you're being childish, Kat. Are you telling me that in the last year, not once have you both laughed at me, ridiculed the size of my assets, or taken numerous other opportunities to humiliate me? How many times have you had sex with him in my bed or let him drink my booze while laughing the whole time I was out of town? Rick didn't even notice the slap in the face. This nearly knocked him down, and in his anger, he instinctively began to strike back. Somehow he managed not to, but he came close. He stood there, rubbing his cheek and training his jaw to make sure it was working. He was in a state of shock. Shocked because she hit him, and horrified because he almost hit her back. He knew it was time to leave. He had to keep distance between them. For her part, Kat was just as stunned by her rape of the man she loved, her eyes wide and her hands over her mouth, unable to speak. She started crying. Everything was falling apart. This was not the continuation of the conversation she wanted at all. When she came to her senses, she apologized profusely and tried to hug Rick, but he pushed her away. Rick, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I know you have no reason to believe me, but he has never been near our family or home, and none of us ever said a word about you. I don't know if you believe it, but I can share my life. When I'm with you, it doesn't even exist. And right. That also means that when you're with him, me and the kids don't exist, right? Kat lowered her head and said quietly, Yes, Rick, it is, but it's good. I was going to say, as you could only think, that I could humiliate you. But under the circumstances, I think there is no point in arguing about it. But it's true. Nothing like this has ever happened. Know that I am going to do a DNA test on the children. Kat was about to slap him again, but he grabbed her arm and spoke threateningly. Don't try that again. I'm trying my best to maintain my composure. And honestly, what you've done to me all these months doesn't give you the right to be shocked by my words. Okay, Rick, I understand, but we have to solve this problem somehow. My friend is out of our lives. You mean this bastard? It was a statement, not a question, and all the poison that had accumulated within him was included in those words. He's not a scumbag, Rick. He's a good guy. Of course it is. Is he just a nice guy who has sex with other people's wives? By the way, while we're on the subject, should I get tested for STDs? I mean, how many more people like you does he have? What putrefactive diseases does he carry with him? Of course, you can do it if you want. But he and I have both been tested weekly since our friendship began. I insisted on this so as not to put you and me at risk. This is cool. I certainly don't want to hurt your feelings, but forgive me if I do it anyway. Thank you for also letting me know that you sleep with him without protection. You made me wear condoms after our youngest was born until I got cut. I know you too well, Kat. What was your plan if that shithead got you pregnant? Just another collateral damage in my life. Raising someone else's child? I seriously want to know, since I had a vasectomy, can I expect the same speech? Listen, Rick, you raise this child as your own, or I will take away everything you hold dear. Is this something I have to look forward to? Of course not. This will never happen. Can't we just focus on how we will solve our problems as adults? You mean work through our problems so you can have your boyfriend and stay married to me? Work it out? Fuck you, Kat. I'm getting out of here before I do anything stupid. If there is an emergency, you can contact me through my parents. I'll stay with them until I figure out what to do. I'll think about what you said, but right now I'm considering divorce as the only option. Please don't contact me with any more bullshit about how we should talk about this. I have nothing more to say. You have made your position absolutely clear. Rick actually stayed with his parents. He told Mom and Dad everything, including his conversation with Kat. His father was shocked and supported him. He didn't try to influence Rick's decision one way or another. He simply told him that he would be there for him no matter what Rick decided. On the other hand, his mother was unforgiving. Even as a small child, Rick never doubted who was in charge of the family. His mother ran everything, and she began to attack him as soon as he finished his story. Come on, Ricky. She never stopped calling him that. It can't be that bad. You have 4 beautiful children who really need you. You just have to find a way to coexist with Kat. I know she loves you. Oh, Mom, did you understand everything correctly? She's having sex with another man and wants me to get over it. Ricky, listen to me. Divorcing her will be a permanent solution to a temporary problem. In a few months, she will overcome her infatuation with this other man and realize that she has a home. Don't divorce her. I know you can handle this. She talked about it day and night. She often cried, begging him to reconsider the divorce. Sometimes she even burst out with the old, I'm very disappointed in you, Ricky. We raised you better. The worst thing she said, and although she immediately apologized, it still hurt him terribly. Ricky, if you don't return to Kat and decide to live together, I will never forgive you. Rick knew that his parents loved their grandchildren to death, but he also noticed that whenever his mother started pestering him, his father would try to disappear from the room. When they were alone, his father would remind him that he would support whatever decision he made, but his father would never say anything like that when his mother was around. In the end, Rick came to the conclusion that it was best to keep the family together. He didn't have many options anyway. He felt like a bird locked in a cage. He couldn't find a way out. So he just decided to suck it up and make the best of a bad situation. And he went home. Listen, Kat, I decided to stay. I'm only staying so our kids don't have to grow up in a broken home. And because I know that if I leave, your buddy will move into my house in no time. I won't put our children through this. However, I will only stay here until little Amanda turns 18, and then I will leave. I'm going to turn the office into my bedroom because I don't think I want to be in the same bed with you. No, no, no. She stamped her foot. You will sleep with me. I've been living with my boyfriend for a year now. Have you ever seen or felt anything that made you suspicious? No, that didn't happen. You sleep with me, and that's final. Besides, what will the kids think? Since you're going to stay home, we need to keep up appearances. If you want to leave after the other kids leave and Amanda turns 18, then so be it. In the meantime, we sleep together. Kat understood it this way. She knew that Rick loved her and that over time their relationship would improve. She wasn't going to give him a reason to distance himself. She swore to herself that she would be even more careful with her lover in the future to make sure Rick didn't see or feel anything that would anger or hurt him. Of course, the kids were overjoyed that he was back home, but Rick was even happier. He couldn't stand being away from them. Even during his business trips, he made it a point to contact them every day. He also never forgot to bring small gifts to their home. Seeing their euphoria gave him hope that he could get through this. At first, things didn't go very well, and although Kat no longer bothered to try to convince him that everything was okay, she did a full course of pressure to get him to make love to her. But Rick couldn't do it. He tried his best to act normal, but it was difficult for him, and an uneasy truce developed between husband and wife. Rick found it very difficult not to get angry whenever Kat left the house alone. Although she told him that she only saw her boyfriend once or twice a week, in Rick's mind it was every time Kat left the house alone that cut him deeply. Kat tried everything to make him more comfortable, but it didn't work. So after going through a rough few weeks, she decided to see a marriage counselor. Kat felt that Rick was not adapting quickly enough to the new situation, and it was important to help get their relationship back on track. The children also began to suspect something. Rick was stunned when Kat brought up the idea. Wait, let me figure it out. You want me to go to marriage counseling with you so I can be more comfortable with you having sex with other guys? Seriously? He laughed so hard that he began to hiccup, but suddenly Kat saw a dark expression on his face. He became quiet and very sullen. You know, Kat, maybe this isn't a bad idea. We must do this. Rick had several reasons to agree. Mostly he was curious about how Kat was going to sell her boyfriend to a consultant to make their marriage stronger. At the very least, it might be interesting. But I have to choose a consultant. He didn't want some new-age son-child extolling to him the virtues of polyandrous relationships. Kat readily agreed, and for some incomprehensible reason felt giddy with excitement and anticipation. All Rick could do was shake his head in amazement at the depth of her delusion. Kat was amazed at the success of the consultation. After 2 or 3 sessions, Rick became much more affectionate at home. He didn't yell at her or sulk anymore. Frankly speaking, the consultant was also amazed. Basically, all he did was point out to Rick that it doesn't matter what the social norms are, all that matters is what Rick and Kat think is normal. The consultant saw more and more of these situations in his practice, and they never ended well. As soon as the 10 sessions were over, he thought he should write an article and submit it to Psychology Today. Maybe this will help couples across the country. So life continued in Rick and Kat's house. Their marriage could not be called divine by any stretch of the imagination, but they got along well and worked together to give their children the best childhood experiences they could. To an outside observer, it seemed that their marriage was better than most. Almost immediately after the consultation was completed, their lovemaking returned to normal levels. Rick and Kat never spoke about her male friend again. Rick knew he was ignoring the obvious, but he didn't see a good reason to bring it up. A serious incident occurred that upset Rick so much that he almost broke their agreement. About 6 years later, Rick's father called and asked him to come see them immediately. Kat noticed the serious expression on his face. Rick, Is something wrong? You're scaring me. I don't know, but I think my mother may be sick. Dad said I need to go there right now. Well, wait. I'm with you. No. He told me to come alone. Kat looked worried because she loved his parents almost as much as she loved her own. Okay, but please let me know what's going on as soon as possible. He promised that he would do so and headed to his childhood home. When he arrived, both parents were sitting in the living room. His father looked angry and his mother was obviously crying. This only made him more worried. The father spoke first. Rick, I want you to know that I just found out about this yesterday and I'm very angry with your mother. And he left the room. What's going on, Mom? Ricky, I have something to tell you, and it will hurt you. I never wanted this. I just wanted to save your family. You know I love my grandchildren so much. Just tell me, Mom. I saw a cat with a guy many years ago. One day I saw them leaving the hotel room when I was meeting Doris for lunch. What? And you didn't tell me about it. How could you do this to me? Honey, the children were just babies. They needed both parents. She continued talking, but he didn't hear the rest of what she said. He was stunned. His own mother. Rick stood up and left without another word. When he got home, Kat nervously peppered him with questions, but he simply said that his parents were worried about whether we would have enough money to pay for all the kids' college expenses. I told them we are working on it. They told me they would help in any way they could. They just get older and worry. I think this is typical for old people. Well, thank God. I hope you told them not to worry anymore. Rick just nodded his head and walked into the backyard. Rick's relationship with his mother was never the same. Oh, they saw each other, usually with their grandchildren and Kat, but the close relationship they had was gone forever. It was the same with his parents' marriage. His father actually left home for about a month. He was so upset about his wife's deception. Unfortunately, his father passed away about a year after this meeting. He died a sad man, and that really bothered Rick. He had several dark days after the funeral. To Kat's credit, she was with him every step of the way and helped him come out of his depression. Rick's resolve to leave his wife began to weaken. He was very worried, but he realized that his wife loved him and that she was trying to be with him, so he doubted. Their oldest went off to college. The next two followed. Amanda would turn 18 in a couple of years, had graduated from high school, and was ready to go to state college. The years of raising a child, especially in high school, passed in a blur. Around the same time, his mother also left. Death is a very complex and time-consuming process. There is a saying that, being an only child, the good news is that when your parents die, you don't have to argue with your siblings about anything. The bad news is that you don't have any siblings to share the burden with. His parents left him enough money to ensure that all of their children could pursue higher education without being burdened with student loan debt. While looking through their papers, Rick saw a letter from his mother, addressed to him and handwritten. The envelope simply said, "Riku after I'm gone." It was dated just 3 weeks before her death. He put it in his pocket and decided to read it later. Shortly after his mother's death, Rick essentially decided to stay with Kat. The pain and anger were gone, and he felt like he had a better life than most, so why rock the boat? Besides, he had seen how lonely his mother was, and he was worried that the same might happen to him if he left Kat. Amanda was ready to leave, and he was already starting to suffer from empty nest syndrome. Rick threw the letter on the table and forgot about it for several weeks. One day, while rummaging through his drawer, he saw it and decided to read it. What he read shocked him. He could hardly believe it. That's the trouble. When people start lying to you, trust disappears, so you question everything. Was the content true, or was his mother just trying to look better after death? He decided to tear up the letter and not say a word. It's less than a year before Amanda turns 18 and heads off to college. But he thought about writing often, and this influenced his decisions about the future. The day after Amanda left for school, Rick sat down next to Kat. "Kat, I met with a lawyer and I'm going to divorce you. You go to the office to sign the papers, or I can serve you. I don't want to embarrass you, but it's time for me to move on." "But why? We've been so good all these years." Because I don't love you, Kat, and we agreed that I would stay until Amanda turned 18. You do not love me? No, Kat, and my love did not disappear gradually. It stopped the moment you threatened me. I owe it to myself to leave, as we agreed 10 years ago. I know our paths will cross again because of the kids and grandkids, so I'll be polite, but we're done. Come on, Rick. You mean all those times we held hands? The countless times you told me how much you loved me and the lovemaking wasn't real? I know the difference between sex and love, and you made love to me. It took a while, but after a few months, revenge sex turned into sex and then lovemaking. I know that it was so. I lied to you, Kat. It was a performance. And do you know why? Now Kat was crying openly. She didn't say anything, just shook her head. Because I realized something and it hit me like a ton of bricks. You can divorce me at any time and for any reason. Why do you think I agreed to the consultation? We live in a guilt-free environment. You could file for divorce just because I forgot to take out the trash or forgot your birthday. What if, over time, you fell in love with your boy toy? I would become a part-time dad. You had all the power in our relationship. I couldn't risk it, so I tried to be the best father I could and pretended to be with you. I do not trust you. I know you love me. I know you do. I would never do anything like that to you. She screamed hysterically and sobbed uncontrollably. Maybe only now she finally realized the true depth of her actions. Wait, please, Rick. I have to tell you something. I haven't seen my boyfriend or been with anyone but you for almost 10 years. Should I believe this? This is pretty risky, even for you, Kat. Rick truly felt that Kat would say or do anything to get what she wanted. I swear it's true, Rick. I was an absolutely faithful wife to you just a few months after our conversation. Why and what happened? You never told me anything. I thought you wouldn't believe me anyway, so I didn't say anything. What happened was that as soon as I told him that you now understand our relationship, he began to change. When we were together, he started belittling you, calling you a cuckolded weakling. He started telling me that I should cut you off and said all sorts of perverted things when we were intimate. Finally, one day, I had enough. I slapped him and left. I never went back. And I've never been with anyone else but you. How many times did you hit him? Just once. Why do you ask? Just. At least he and I are the same even in this. So you've been keeping it to yourself all these years? Yes, Rick. I decided that the only thing I could do was be the best mother and wife I could be, and I thought we were fine. Well, I'll give this to you. You were an amazing mom. I don't see how anyone could be better, and I know you'll be a great grandma. But I have to tell you that my pain is there and it won't go away. I will also give you credit for trying to be a good wife. I know that the closeness we had before your affair never returned, but I knew that you tried and that you cared about me. However, for me, it was never better than just two friends with benefits. Please, Rick, you have to stay. Please do not leave me. I will do whatever you say so as not to lose you. Please, I beg you. Okay, Kat. Then answer me one question. A few years ago, I found out that it was my mother who saw you with your lover. Kat acted as if she was shocked by this discovery. Have you ever talked to her about this? After a significant pause, she replied, No, dear. I had no idea that your mother saw me. It's strange, Kat. She told me that later that day you confronted her and threatened that if she told me about this, she would be responsible for the destruction of our family, and that you would make sure she never saw my grandchildren. I didn't do anything like that. I don't know, Kat, but what my mother told me is very similar to what you told me 10 years ago. The problem now is that I don't trust you. I'm really sorry, but there's nothing you can say that would make me stay. Anyway, it's time for me to do something for myself. I've been here all this time for the kids, and now it's my time. Goodbye, Kat. Kat collapsed, sobbing uncontrollably. But Rick was unmoved. He left his house for the last time. That same day, he began receiving angry and emotional calls from each of the children asking him why he left their mother. Before answering, he asked everyone a simple question. Was I a good father? They assured him that he had been a fantastic father throughout their lives. He was moved to tears by their approval of his efforts. Once he had his emotions under control, he told them the unvarnished truth, including their grandmother's involvement. He pulled no punches and didn't sugarcoat anything. He explained that he almost left because he was filled with anger and shame. They understood everything and thanked him for staying with them. And although they maintained a relationship with their mother, it was never the same. Rick never spoke to Kat again. He even refused to be in the same room with her, except for his children's weddings and grandchildren's birthdays. Rick loved his independent life. He realized that there is a big difference between independence and loneliness. He was never lonely because he had an important part of the love and respect of his children. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.